and insight on the future of technology. I now request our esteemed guest to join us on the dais. Ms. Ruza Sabanovic, Telenor's Executive Vice President, Mr. Sanjeev Walde, Director IT Systems, Mr. Abhijit Naik, Executive Director Morgan Stanley, and our very own Professor Nilesh Gupta.
Ms. Ruza Sabanovic, Telenor's Executive Vice President, is a tech visionary, shaping connectivity's future. Armed with a master's in civil engineering, her career ascended from director's role to CTO of Telenor Norway. Beyond titles, she revitalized Telenor's network and founded Telenor Links for digital infrastructure solutions, propelling the company into the vanguard of the digital revolution. Her true impact lies in her ability to inspire innovation and bridge the digital divide. Making her more than an EVP, she is a technological architect and a champion for a connected future, embodying Telenor's relentless pursuit of progress and global connectivity. Ma'am, we are extremely honored to have you with us today. I now request Professor Nilesh Gupta to present Ms. Ruza Sabanovic with a bouquet.
It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Sanjeev Walde, Director at T-Systems, a luminary in technology with a bachelor's in computer science and an MBA in technology management. His 2-decade career showcases dedication and expertise. From Robert Walters to T-Systems, Mr. Walder's leadership drove innovative projects, enhancing efficiency and industry status. His strategic vision aligns technology with business goals, fostering sustainable growth. As T-Systems Director, he guides a dynamic team, implementing groundbreaking solutions. His leadership blends strategic insight, teamwork, and a passion for excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sanjeev Walde, a beacon in technology, inspiring us to greater heights. Sir, we're extremely excited to have you, and even more excited to witness the discussion that is to unfold.
Mr. Abhijit Naik is a transformational leader and a change agent with a focus on building unified, optimized enterprise technology products and services to provide solutions for real-life business use cases. Mr. Naik joined Morgan Stanley Advantage Services as Executive Director in 2016. He currently heads multiple super departments that supports big data, analytics and reporting, machine learning, artificial intelligence, Salesforce CRM solutions for wealth management technology. He's also responsible for driving regional strategy for wealth management technology. Prior to joining Morgan Stanley, he held a succession of leadership positions at Merrill Lynch, Bank of America in New Jersey, where he led multiple transformational initiatives. We are privileged to have your esteemed presence here, and we eagerly anticipate the insightful discussions that will unfold. I now request Professor Nilesh Gupta to present Mr. Abhijit Naik with the bouquet.
Our moderator for this session, Professor Nilesh Gupta. Professor Nilesh Gupta is a faculty member in the finance and accounting area at IIM Nagpur. Nilesh sir completed his BTech from Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Technical University and then started his professional career working at Tata Consultancy Services, creating anti-money laundering software. He got his FPM from IIM Ahmedabad and taught at IIM Tirchi for over 5 years. During his tenure, he has taken courses in 2-year MBA program, PhD program, and working executive MBA batches, in addition to delivering modules at executive training programs and workshop. Professor Gupta has several cases, research papers, media publications, and paper presentations at international conferences to his credit.
IIM Nagpur believes in sustainable living and lowering carbon footprint. Esteemed guests, we have planted a tree in each one of your names in Simli Pal National Park, Odisha. The certificate will be mailed to you shortly. With that, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive into the rich tapestry of insights and experiences with our distinguished panelists. We now request our moderator to kickstart the discussion. Over to you, Professor Nilesh.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure and privilege to welcome three most talented and high-flying guests in the world of telecom and internet and technology in the country. So today, it is clear, known to all of us, that the Indian growth story would not have been possible without the growth of the India telecom story. Telecom in India has rejuvenized and enabled several teeming millions at the bottom of the pyramid to get connected with the mainstream. Taking this growth further, the country today is rooting towards 5G services. We believe that 5G could be a growth enabler once again for our industries as well as consumer tech ecosystem. Sanjeev ji, you have had a great experience in implementing 5G in European worlds and in servicing multiple telecom clients in the US. What's your take on the issue?
So actually that is the part of Deutsche Telekom where they roll out these telecom technologies. Where or T-Systems come into play is we have to support the systems, yeah? So the production systems, the supply chain systems, the operations, and the new developments, new trials of new technologies, rollouts, all those activities which are very important before the product is launched into the market. That is where it gains a lot of importance for us.
Ruza, over to you.
Yes. So first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. And after almost 10 years of my experience working in telco industry in India to come to this fantastic event, I believe that the role of the telecommunication is and will be to empower people and societies to do and connect what matters the most for them. And that has been the mantra that Telenor has been building and really working on connecting every single person in the globe. That's why we even came to India to do that. And we see that technologies, mission, new technologies, are basically empowering in order to do more and go beyond just the connectivity. So we are now faced in the midst of the tsunami, I would say, of the three revolutionized technology. 5G, as you mentioned, is one, cloud being the second one, and the third is AI. And what we realize, at least from our experience working in Europe and Asia across and launching 5G, that it's not enough to just focus on one. We have invested as an industry $1 trillion in the last 5 years, but the return of that investment was less than 1 percentage point, it's 0.9. That's not sustainable and good business. However, with the new technology like AI and the cloud, we see that that can really change the picture and that it can just improve the overall investment and empower the both societies, industries, and people in order to grow that. So now, if you look at the AI part, it is basically anticipated that by 2030, the whole industry will contribute with more than $50 trillion or on the local industry, 26% of the local GDP. That is something for us definitely to work. And there are 4 areas that are identified and believe that the world and the industries are aligned on that. And all 4, you would recognize, are basically powered and developed and influenced by the telco industry. It is the customer operation. That's the one area. It's an IT and telco operation. It is about the product development as the third one. And it's a sales and distribution, the retail business. All 4 of those building blocks are basically the fundament of the telco industry. And if done and transformed rightly, in order to make zero touch, basically zero complaint and zero wait customer experience, starting with that, through the complete digitalization of the operating end-to-end system to the self-service operation to the end customer, be it in telco or in other industries, we will be able to contribute with 10 percentage points on the EBITDA of the businesses. And that is the hope that everyone has now, given that 5G basically demonstrated it's the first technology that is not to the one customers. It's basically the collaborative technology. And without telcos collaborating with the other industries, be it banking, be it education, be it, for example, the transportation, mobility, healthcare, very important one, it is not going to happen. And my last just point to that, what has been the biggest learning, all this powerful technology, if we do not know how to use it, and if we do not invest into the talents in academia and bring talents in academia into the industry, is not going to bring the value that is expected from that.
Thank you for your wonderful views, Ruza. Abhijit, would you, you have had experience in US in the wealth management space. And in many ways, the US wealth management space is far ahead of the Indian space, far ahead of what we are seeing in India. How do you see this entire consumer tech industry moving forward? What do you see going ahead with the huge availability of data?
Sure. First of all, thank you for invitation, and thanks for the wonderful introduction. So to talk about wealth management space, see, if you compare US to India in the wealth management space, very different in terms of how the business operates. In the US, wealth management is very structured in terms of mass affluent or high net worth or ultra high net worth. And it's a very matured industry in terms of that. In India, we have too much diversity in terms of the income, in terms of how we are structured, the population that we have, the distribution of it, as well as the investment options that we look at based on each of different areas. For example, folks who are earning more than, let's say, 2 crores in India. It's a very small population. So the investment options for those are very different. However, if you move to mass market that we have, where a lot of our younger generation is coming in, that spread is pretty big. And probably that area needs different type of investments. And when we go to the rural economy, a lot more needs to be done in that area. I think, personally, I think there is not enough focus in terms of bringing up the rural area, in terms of technology, in terms of the opportunities. So what is happening is folks are moving towards the cities, where we are building tier 2, tier 3 cities as well as tier 1s. So that trend, in my opinion, will only change if we start building out the rural population and provide them opportunities locally in terms of education, healthcare, and bring this technology. So the way I see it is telecom, which is building 5G and laying out the whole infrastructure. That infrastructure needs to go to each village, and it should not stop just there, because most of our villages are agriculture prone, right? Very heavy. It needs to go to every farm. If you go to the farm, do you have the connectivity? Do you have the reliable signals? India is focusing on mobile. That's how the whole technology is built up. So mobile is key for us to have reliable connectivity across entire of the India span. And that's where the opportunity I see for telecom perspective, specifically for India. When I come to wealth management and banking, I believe the India stack, that's what they call, which covers your Aadhaar, your UPI, and your data protection protocols. So Aadhaar is a platform for individual, which is already built. We use Aadhaar cards. The digital platform, it's pretty solid across the world, I would say, given the benefit we got in terms of building it and learning from other nations how they have built those, right? Improving that further. UPI, which is a protocol, which is payments gateway, and there is complete disruption in the payments industry in India. I think that's probably one of the areas where we have so much where we are giving tough competition with the likes of the prior payment gateways like Visa, MasterCard, and all of that. Now it's free. UPI is free. You don't need to pay anything. However, India needs to take that further and look at where it is going to go. And the third thing is the personal data protection. If she mentioned about AI, cloud, all these key technologies, those technologies work on data. So data is your new gold. So invest in data. However, not just data. It's really the quality data that we are talking about, because the AI models or any machine learning models that you build on it, they are as good as what data you're feeding it to. And in my opinion, those are the areas where there is a lot of opportunity that we can build upon as we go through.
Lovely, lovely. Just as an Indian here and a proud user of UPI, I am very certain that we are not giving competition to earlier payment gateways. We are obliterating the earlier payment gateways. Sanjeev, Abhijit talked about taking connectivity to villages in the country. You have had experience in setting up 5G systems in a more condensed country like Germany. How do you think 5G deployment is likely to pan out, given the huge diversity in country that both geographical as well as income that India faces? How do you think it will go forward?
So, after all, you see, telecommunication and internet is the service that is required for running different businesses. I think we need to encourage the businesses who are engaged into improving the operational efficiencies. So in manufacturing, for instance, there is a lot of effort going on in creating the digital twin of production processes. There is a lot of effort going on for supply chain systems. We need to work with these industries to make sure that they get proper communication systems. Security is a big challenge. We need to make sure that they trust telecommunication systems so that they are not now bothered with someone hacking their systems and putting their business processes at risk. Yeah? So this is very important. Secondly, we need to also educate the people in different industry, manufacturing, healthcare, education, because it is a big change. We are not many times comfortable using these digital technologies. I think this pandemic has given the experience to all the industries, not just people in general, to do things in a different way. And when we support this, I think it is going to have this domino effect, and it is going to really take things to a different level. Yeah, and of course, there is a downside to it also. But then we have to have systems where we are getting regular and quick feedbacks, and we are adopting the processes, agile processes, for instance, where there are very good feedback systems to do the course correction into our activities, so that we ultimately give a good experience to everyone, to the people who are working on the business processes, people who are experiencing the end users. All stakeholders get benefited with this new way of working. Yeah. Thank you.
you talked about digitizing existing other businesses which are not digital. We have telecom here, which was born digital. And Ruza, you have spent a long time in the telecom industry. If I were to put you in the advisor shoes for the rest of the industry, what would you say coming from your large experience in the telecom sector? How would you ask other sectors to deal and benefit from this wave of digitalization in processes?
In the past and the present, and believe even more in the future, telco has been playing a very good, trusted advisory role for their customers, including the industries. What we are enabling, I would try to say, is the reach, both what we heard the panelists talking about. How do we make sure that all more than 7 billion people get the access to the knowledge and to the information? And that is what telco's mission and job has been. But not only to enable reach, but profitable reach. And that is where I would say India has been one of the most innovative countries to really, with the ARPU, which is less than $1 US, to deliver the profitable connectivity to the last mile customers. So this is one very important, I would say, parameter. The second one is how do we become more visible, transparent, trusted partner when it comes to the digital transformation of the other industries and societies. What role can we play? We can definitely translate and transfer all the know-how of the processes that we have been doing. Because where we have been focusing was the customer experience. On the sales and the retail, all those digitalization of the end-to-end processes where the customer is in the center to turn into the self-care with the good, secured, first and foremost, interactions is the key. Both cloud and AI is enabling us and other digitalization tools that we can do that. And what we demonstrated that when it comes to the operational support on the customers, we can digitalize more than 90%. The study shows that up to 70% of all the work that we are doing today in all the industries can be automated. Not just automated, but it can be made intelligent, meaning that it can be predictive, so we can even prevent certain bad things to happen in order to serve the customer in the reliable and trusted way. All of that telco can do. The second part is we can as well advise them where to start. What was our learning point, right? It's always good to start with your own house. You need to digitalize and to transform yourselves. And to move the production, be it the health system, be it the education, it's a completely new way how we can now run and reimagine the education. Through the gamification, through the applied of the AI technology, we are going to be faced with a very different, predictable, and much more forward-looking educational competencies and skills that we need to do. The third point is telcos has been heavily regulated, not only in India, but across the globe. So we know how to comply to all the regulatory requirements, be it on security, on privacy, or now on transparency and other sustainability goals, including the energy. And this is something that we definitely work very closely with the partners in the ecosystem and with the other industry to pass those experiences, to create those defendable architecture to make sure that our customers are saved and guarded, and the data are the good quality, but they're saved and protected. And it's my prerogative which data I want you to use, it's not yours, right? So the whole security, because what we saw, the technology is helping detecting all those anomalies, but the other evil part, or if they want, it's increasing the activity. So we see 50% increase of the security cyber attacks and malfunctioning due to the development of the technology. So we need to be prepared for that, and that's where telco can help as well do. And the last part is we are a big as well consumer of the energy, because we need to look at telco, not just the connectivity, we work with the ecosystem with the partner. And we need to take a responsible role, both when it comes to security, privacy, and energy consumption to contribute to the zero emission, and to work with the partners in order to transform them. if you look at the scope 3, it's a huge consumption of the telcos. And if we take a very clear, basically, principle and say that we will achieve minimum 68% that is zero emission by 2025, which is the minimum requirement, we can definitely contribute. And we have established as well digitalized processes how to monitor and follow that, which we can help to the other industries.
Clearly, there is a lot to learn from telecom companies in terms of digitalizing the entire business process. Abhijit, want to draw on your experience in two of the aspects that Ruza mentioned. First, regarding dealing with regulation, and secondly, regarding dealing with personal data. Ruza says, and quite rightly, telecom is one of the most regulated industries in the world. Finance will come next, if not earlier. What has been your stories or experiences in dealing with personal data of customers, as well as dealing with regulations, regulations of the country that you operated in?
So I'm not the qualified authority to talk about the regulations of the country, but I'll give you my perspective, even on both sides. I think banking is probably the most regulated industry. If you look at it from India perspective, the tremendous processes that we have, a lot of manual processes that we have, and the time it takes to get things done. Technology can, and it is playing a big role in the fintech industry in India. It is playing a big role in transforming that. As we go through that though, the protecting data is key. And as I was mentioning about India stack or the tech stack, the data protection protocol is one of the key aspects of it, wherein India is looking at giving individual authority to share the data as opposed to how it's done in Western countries or US, which is your data is, you are giving consent to sell your data. Let's say if you go to different areas, right? Different companies like Facebook's or social media, you are consenting that you can use my data. Here, as technology changes, so I want to go a little bit different. As I come from tech perspective, I want to give you a tech spin on it. So if you look at, and I see a lot of youngsters here, so they will like. So if you look at technology, technology has been there forever. If I go back in 1950s, since then we had technology. Since then we had AI. People may not know. However, was it ready for the prime time to use? Did we have the ample of hardware to run it, the processing power to run it, or not? That time, probably based on some of the research that I have read from Barron's and stuff, what it says is in 1950 we were processing about 100 parameters. Come to 1990, that came to probably 1980s, 1990, it's about 1 million. In 2000, those parameter crunch as part of that went more than 100 million. Now we are above 100 billion plus. So when you are looking at searching and when you're doing that, so the technology has improved so much, but it has been there. The other aspect of it is we talk about a lot of latest technology. However, technology was disrupting when mainframes came. We still have mainframes today. Client server, we still have client server applications today. Then came the web-based or internet. We all use, that's the information age. we all use that. And now we are talking about the knowledge age, which is, hey, I have the information, how do I get the knowledge out of it? So if you look at the technology perspective, as it evolves, at the same time, the policies of the respective governments will have to evolve. And now we are at a stage where tech is growing at exponential rate. So just to give you context, probably when Google was launched, or Google search, back in late 90s, I would say, it took about more than a year to get to 1 million consumers or the customers for Google. Fast forward to today, when OpenAI launched ChatGPT, it took 5 days to get to 1 million subscriptions. So essentially what we are seeing is tech is moving at very fast pace. That's the point I want to get to. From that perspective, how does our academics align to it? Are we moving fast enough pace in teaching the skilled, the youngsters who are coming out of college? Are we at that pace or not? Are the governments moving fast enough from policy perspective to get to that, to regulate where things should be used and where they should not be? And the fourth piece is the corporates, how they are collaborating. So the way I see it is, it's really the collaboration that has to happen, the adaptability of new areas, and understanding of which technology is best suited for which business use case perspective. You can't really deploy technology just for the sake of it. It has to make sense in terms of implementation. So it's not just use of technology, but understanding of businesses where it makes sense to deploy it. And the third portion, if we go collaborative way, that's when it will move forward. Those are some of my thoughts I would like to talk about.
Okay. Ruza, you have a few words to share.
I just want to build what was said here. I think it's extremely important to understand and maybe just to stress some of the points that you have just made. The adoption of the technology is what make it successful or not. And of course, to do that, we need skills, we need talents, and we need another enablers. And that's where I strongly believe India is the place to start and to take a lead, not only for India industries and the development, but for the whole world. It's not coincidence that 4 Indian companies are on the list, on the top 10 IT companies in the world. It has a very, very good know-how, development and academia, and I believe you are number 3 when it comes to the number of the different R&D development and reports that are issued and globally accepted. So there is a good foundation for that, and that is something for India to think how to really take that role globally, not only in India. So this is one. The second problem or the challenge that we are faced with technology is the execution. And then it comes on the infrastructure of the data quality that you talk, making it secure and transparent so that do it in the responsible and ethical way is something that we do not have a solution yet, and that's why we see a bit of the slowdown. But as well, we should not forget about the legacy, because what has been as well as some success is that if we apply this technology on the legacy that we do have and we will have, we see that, that there is basically possibility to make it better than it was till we transit to the new setup. And we talk about the regulation and the need for regulation not to limit and ban the innovation, but regulation that will continue to foster the innovation. You talk about took 5 days. I got the data point in August. It was 1.5 billion already in the world using ChatGPT. So it's enormous interest. But we need regulation to work, as you said, collaboratively with the industries, with the telcos, in order to enable it, not stop it, because that's a fear. If you see some other countries, particularly in Europe, everyone is focusing on putting the regulation, and we know that regulation, if not done in a good way, can as well not only do good, but it can stop the progress and innovation.
Both Ruza and Abhijit spoke about the challenges in executing technology there. Sanjeev, anything would you like to share on challenges in executing technology at the last mile from your experience? What have you felt are the challenges? Have the initial aims been achieved? How do you think, if we abstract out, what are the general lessons for any technology systems execution and adoption?
Right. So, like I said, it is the experience that we give that is very important. So, so beyond technology, yeah, there are also observations about how we can do things differently, how we can manage change. There are processes like design thinking, for instance, where we go through the cycles of ideating and piloting the ideas and learning and then prototyping and then deploying. All these cycles should be well understood and transparent. If we do things in a structured way, and it is a huge change, by the way, it has nothing to do with technology. It is the discipline with which we execute things, and then we will see that in the longer run, we will gradually reach the goal, the target that we have set ourselves for.
Yeah. All right. I would like to ask if the audience has any questions to our esteemed panelists.
Hello. So I want to ask a very simple and pertinent question, and I'm sure every student has that in his or her mind. Will AI take away the jobs? Anybody?
So from my point of view, yeah, see, we have seen such watershed moments also earlier. And then after initial apprehensions, everyone has adopted, yeah. Yeah, so we are also involved in creating these systems. We have to look at it what it is, yeah. When we say AI, there is a lot of hard work that goes on. We have to, first of all, create systems where we are getting the data. This data is then trained, and there are models which are built and algorithms which are received, and these algorithms are then put to use. And when we are doing that, it goes to rigorous testing. And when the whole thing works, we say that, okay, if this final product is going to give you that right statement you are looking at, this final AI service is going to recognize whether it is a scratch on a car or whether it is a dent. This system is going to prompt you whether the chemical composition of a particular medicine is going to work or not. So it is a lot of hard work. The people, technology people, other industry people who are engaged in other industries, they will have to look at how they can use this process of creating AI services to help them do their work in a better way. It is not going to take any job. So I would like to give an assurance here. Thank you.
So I would ask the question the same when internet, some of us remember when internet came, has that reduced the number of jobs or increased? And I believe we all know that actually that increased significantly the type of the jobs. So with the new technology, AI being one, or cloud, or 5G, or I hope it will be more technologies that are coming disruptive, it is going to happen, the replacement of the jobs. We need to be ready for that. So we are not going to continue to do the same things as we are doing now, and we should not. Because I'm sure that each of us are very happy if some repetitive task that we are doing every day is being done by someone else, by machines, that we learn and teach machines and that we ask them to create something so that we don't think about some basic things, so that we can free up the time to take the innovation, to take the adoption that we talk about, that we take the regulatory, the compliance part, the sustainability to the level where it should be. So the fact that AI, and I'm sure that you are reading all of that, it can replace, they're saying, at least 20 to 70% the work that we are doing today, we consider it as redeployment, meaning that will be taken, but then your time and your efforts will be moved to something else. To do that, that's why I strongly believe it's education and development of the talents in each of us. It's the key. And that's where the state, academia, and each of us should take responsibility to make sure that we upskill ourselves. And we should ask ourselves, if today we are not using AI, we are not as productive as our peer. And that should be the thing that we should worry about. Not about the, will I have a job? You will have a job, but you will have a job that you might be even happier than that you're doing today.
Well said, my friend Ruza. I definitely agree with you. It's a nature of job. Like, you go back in the history, when there was disruption in manufacturing, robotics, we all know, robots came in, machines were built, robotics is going to a next level now, right? So it took away some jobs in manufacturing industry, but it created different jobs. Who is building those robots? Who is running them? Who is configuring them? So newer technologies will come, and it will make our life easier and easier. That's what technology is doing. That's where our focus is. So to answer your question, look at what AI has already created. There was no job called prompt engineering. There's no field like that. There was no job called data scientists earlier, prior to AI getting into mainstream. There was no job around the security that we look at, right? The frauds and cyber areas that we look at. These are new jobs which are coming up. So nature of job is changing, to her point, and it will continue to happen. And that's why my previous point around technology is at exponential growth phase that we are seeing right now. It's changing very fast. 3 years back, everybody was bullish on blockchain. Today, how much we talk about blockchain? It's there, it's for the purpose, it's implemented, it's used in certain areas where it makes sense. So technology will change. 2 years from now, we'll talk about something else. AI is very in its infancy phase right now, right? If you look at how much implementations are done, there are very few, but there is a lot of buzz around it. But in my opinion, it will create new jobs. So my view of it for ZMS that we are talking about, how we can get to 5 trillion and how the corporates or private sector and the public sector and the government side and the education, which IIMs, the schools like IIM and IITs of the world, like what can we do? Do we have the policies in place to move at that fast pace to change our course as we are going through this? What can we deploy collectively which will make sure that the young generation of the future who is studying right now will get that education when they are ready to do the job, or when they are ready to get in the corporate space, or when they are ready to start their own business? Do we have the ability to do it? So these new jobs which are coming, or new skills which are coming, we have to invest in that. And I know every corporate is investing in that. When they hire, they run a lot of training programs and stuff. But think about it. When individuals have to work, you are spending time and money to train them, because that training is not available in our academia. So the way I see it is technology will constantly change. The nature of job will constantly change as we are moving towards fast-paced, efficient, productive, at the tap of the finger, I need to get everything. That's what we're looking at. So then where do you spend your time? So nature is changing from the physical work that we are doing. Now there's a lot of stuff on the knowledge management or building knowledge. That's where we are.
Corporate should also take some responsibility in making sure that so the corporates should also take the responsibility in making sure that the education system is up to speed with the future of work, right? I think
That's where I mentioned about collaboration,
Right.
adaptability, and then penetration of it, right? So I think those are some of the things we should look after.
Yeah, just to add, definitely the corporates, but it is actually the challenge for the states, for the countries. Okay, that's why you hear a lot of scholarships and a lot of funding going at the state level on the education upskilling and working in the collaboration with all AI, for example, or technology giant worldwide. So they are investing because otherwise the adoption will not take place. So the value of all these technologies will not be capitalized on. So it's an interest, it's a mutual interest. That's why maybe for the first time, I would claim with the 5G, it was seen that you cannot act as individual player in the market. You need to collaborate to succeed. It's a must. So the partnership is a must for everything to succeed. And just on the job profile, I'm sure that you know that UK, for example, wants to position themselves as the leading nation when it comes to the security in applying the AI technology. Just in the preparation of the first security summit that took place in September or October this year, they have hired 50,000 new job profiles. 50,000. So it shouldn't be the worry about that. Our worry, my worry today, right? I am 30 years in this industry. Is how do I upskill myself to understand what is needed for the company, for the society, and for the nation to take it forward? That's what we should worry.
Just one point on that, like think about it, how many jobs or how many nature of the change that has come up, right? We talked about new technologies like AI and cloud only. And I think India is moving towards that in getting into those mainstream areas. So for example, when we talk about data, if you need data, you're going to set up data centers, right? New jobs with respect to data centers. You talk about AI, you need to have that much performing capability into the hardware and the chips which are building. So you're going to have boom in the semiconductor industry. Right now, NVIDIA is one of the primary chipset which uses graphical GPUs, right? So more and more GPUs are needed. So how are we going to build that? That's an opportunity to get into. On top of that, when we talk about this, we only talk at the third layer, which is the servicing layer, right? However, look at the infrastructure layer for it. So you put down the infrastructure, and this is where I think India should look at. Are we putting this infrastructure, and are we putting this infrastructure in the right places where I have the ability to distribute the progress and the growth, not just in the cities, but in the rural areas? How can I have, let's say, a semiconductor industry nearby, maybe 100 kilometers from Nagpur? I put it there. And how can I bring up a new city over there? So you have the whole infrastructure around the growth based on one industry, but you have the schooling, you have the hospitals, you have all the industries coming nearby, right? That's the growth. Otherwise, you're going to move the population towards the city. I think we got to think moving population away from the city so that your infrastructure scales. We already have problems. I'm from Bangalore. The best traffic is in Bangalore, they say, which is the worst traffic, right? So everybody is moving to Bangalore. Think about it, right? And everybody is getting into new cars, whether self-driven or not, whether auto-driven or not. But will this infrastructure scale after 15 years from now, 10 years from now? If we are talking about getting to 5 trillion and beyond, which means more jobs, more investments, more growth, and then the availability of what you get in probably Mumbai and Bangalore and the metro cities like that. Do we have that in tier 3 cities? I won't even say tier 2 because we have malls and stuff in tier 2. Tier 3 and then beyond into villages. Like you can't move everybody from villages out. You have to do the other way around. That's my personal view, not Morgan Stanley's view. That's my personal view on India's growth strategy. I think that's how we should think about. And build these, like there is infrastructure layer, then there is a products layer, and then comes the services tier. Majority think our thought process is we are thinking from services tier point of view. But look at the opportunity in different technologies.
So I definitely think people will move towards Nagpur, yeah? The way the infrastructure is developed here. Very sure about it.
Jobs will come to you because you are the future of this country and the world. That's for sure.
We have time for one more question.
Yeah, just a small point I would like to add what Sir concluded. If you look at the classic case of Anantapur, Kia has set up a complete city out there. You will in fact find the signages in Korean language. One more point I would like to add what Sir mentioned was, I think jobs will not go away. I come from the creative industry, I come from advertising industry. The idea is what is important. ChatGPT is a tool that we could use it to leverage to our best strengths. So that's a small point which I would like to add to what Sir mentioned. And just a small question for the panel. It was great hearing your discussions. See, click, tap and swipe is the new sound of money, right? So I've read it somewhere. If you could just quickly throw some light on this point. From a digital perspective, how safe are we is what I wanted to know from a wealth management point of view and from using cutting edge technology and digital perspective.
Yeah, so everybody uses click, tap, swipe, what you're mentioning right now. What happens behind the scene is the most important. So when, as you folks graduate from IIM, think about end-to-end. Don't just look for a new technology to get onto or the new thing, small thing I'm building. Understand the end-to-end, how it works. That's key. That's a key learning throughout your life. You should keep learning. So if we won't be safe, today we would have had a lot more problems, I would say. If you look at the penetration and what India achieved in very short time in last few years about inclusion, we didn't talk about inclusion, financial inclusion especially. The bank accounts we talk about, but look at the financial inclusion in terms of I can go anywhere, any street vendor, all I need to do is scan the QR code and I'm able to pay as long as they have the bank account. It's so easy. And we used to joke that, you know what, there are some very underprivileged also, and it's true. If I can tell you a place in Bangalore where there are beggars who have the QR code. So if you don't have cash, nobody carries cash today. You can do QR code and do it. Sorry?
Yeah, you're right. But you know what, from my point of view, this click, swipe, tap, I think this also will be a thing of past. We are talking about completely immersive experience. Yeah, we are working on immersive experience systems where things will just happen to you depending on the environment you are in. You'll be recognized. Your data will follow you. It will be very interesting work going further. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to our panelists. I think at the end of it, what they left us with the message was, and it is particularly poignant that we are saying this is an educational institution, continuous learning is a way of life. And as people in the audience here, it is better that we get used to it. Continuous learning for you on the other side, and for us as faculty and institutions on the other side, on this side, for us also continuous learning, keeping in breast with new technologies, and developing programs to upskill the students is the new normal, or at least the basic minimum expectation. With that, I thank the panel for this. Over to you.
Dear panelists, thank you for giving this audience an extremely interesting panel discussion. As rightly said, technology gives a lot more opportunities to the people and not just connectivity. It is exciting to know that India as a country has a lot of opportunities in this sector, along with the fintech boom. And as rightly said again, only time will say if people will collaborate with AI and stand strong in the exciting days to come. I truly hope, sir, businesses think ahead and move away from the metro cities and think beyond. To sum up the entire panel discussion, ladies and gentlemen, I believe it's only fair enough to say technology is in a highly expansive stage, and to succeed, it is only imminent for us to hop onto this flight that reads, technology is the future, because continuous learning and change itself is the charm of life.
As a token of gratitude for their invaluable contributions to this enriching panel discussion, I would like to invite Professor Nilesh to present our distinguished panelist with a token of gratitude and immense respect. These tokens symbolize a deep appreciation for the commitment of our dignitaries, who have graciously taken time from their busy schedules to share their insights and expertise with us. I request Professor Nilesh to present Ms. Ruza Sabanovic with a token of gratitude. I now request Professor Nilesh to present Mr. Sanjeev Walde with a token of appreciation. I now request Professor Nilesh to present Mr. Abhijit Naik with a token of appreciation.
On behalf of IIM Nagpur, we'd like to thank all the dignitaries, participants, faculty, and students for gracing this event with their presence. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, Silver Partner, Ahluwalia Contracts India Limited, Sustainable Energy Partner, Indian Oil, Bronze Partner, AWS, Media Partner, Tech Mahindra Presents Business Today, Gifting Partner, Boat, Exclusive Radio Partner, Red FM 93.5, Bajate Raho, Digital and Creative Partner, Buffalo Soldiers, and other summit partners, Spacewood, Infinity, Fugo, Royal Safe Company, Sirocco. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we'd like to let you know that IIM Nagpur is an institute that has been vocal for local since its inception, and driving the same culture, we have set up a stall that teaches pottery, and our guests and participants can experience it in the breaks. We also have set up multiple food stalls for you to enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. Up next, we have an exciting fireside chat at 11:30. But before that, we have among us a talented young man, Mr. Sambhav, who will present his poetry for this wonderful audience. Thank you.